All right, we'll take questions around the room. First question, Joel, right here.
Hey, Mark. Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. A couple questions here. You've talked, especially yesterday, about wanting to sort of play into your identity across 48 minutes. I just think of the lower assist numbers across the series, maybe the way the turnovers have unfolded, your three-point rate through 3 games. Like, why has Indiana been successful at taking away so many of these parts of your identity?
Some of it's been our transition, I think. I think we do a lot of damage there that we haven't gotten in this series so far. And then Indiana's done a good job generally, defensively in the series, especially last game. I thought, going back and watching the film, there's 2 teams out there, and they deserve a lot of credit for how they played. I didn't think we played a great game, and I thought they had a lot to do with that, with the way they played.
T.J. McConnell was just saying that, it felt like early in the series, all the 50-50 balls went your way. Why do you think that sort of changed yesterday? And is that as simple as sort of them going to get those? Or are they falling into their lap? Like, how would you sort of assess that?
Definitely wouldn't say falling into their lap. I think there's probably plays here and there that are lucky bounces, but generally those sorts of things, you got to be first to the ball, and it's been a strength of us all season. I think we have to, as a team, tap back into some of the things that we've been strong in all year after a game like yesterday. I think we were a little out of character in a lot of ways yesterday. I think that happens in a playoff series, 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, a long time. So you're going to get a range of games and experiences in that. But we have to get it, course corrected pretty quickly if we want to give ourselves a better chance in game 4.
Jenny on the left.
Hey, Mark. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. With Alex and TJ, a couple of guys that are largely role players, they've both had game-changing moments in this series. To have guys that aren't superstars be able to change games like that, how rare is that to find a couple of guys that have really had to work their way into this league to be in those kind of moments?
Well, their individual stories are incredible, but I don't think in a playoff series it's rare. I think if you look at any series, there's a lot of players. Again, 4, 5, 6, 7 games is a long time. 48 minutes is a long time. And there's a lot of opportunity for people to get their fingerprints on the game. So whether it's, for us like Wiggins in game 2 or Mathurin in McConnell in game 3, Toppin in game 1, I think it's pretty normal, I think, to see different players impact different games. And that's the beauty of it. Tomorrow's a new game and a new opportunity for each individual player and each team to make their mark on the series and on the game.
On your right, Tim.
Mark, it seemed like it was a disappointed, but certainly not a down team last night at all. I mean, you lost a game, and that's the obvious reaction, but there doesn't seem to be any real sense of worry or fear or panic or any of that because you have made winning so easy when it's not. What is it about this group that being down 2-1 doesn't seem to necessarily outwardly affect them?
I just think we stay pretty, emotionally even, in all the different experiences. And you really see that when we win. I think it's, if you're going to get, high on the wins, then the natural opposite of that is to get low on the losses. And this team doesn't really swing violently between those two things, never has. I think a lot of that's just the personality of the players, and they do a great job with that. So, these are new experiences for us, but we're experienced enough to know what this is going to come down to. We got to take a look at the film from yesterday. We've got to understand first what happened in the game and be able to define that accurately, and then look at the things that we can improve on and go apply those forward in game 4. And we try to do that win or lose, and we try to make that our way of operating regardless of the individual outcomes. And it just gives you the most consistent approach through all the emotional ups and downs of a season, of a playoff series, and the team does a great job of that.
Vince on the left.
Hey, Coach. Excuse me. Teams are well prepared this time of year. Like, there's very few things that guys aren't prepared for. But how can you prepare your players for T.J. McConnell coming and stealing an inbounds pass, or Ben Mathurin taking those mid-range shots that ideally you want them to take? And these are sort of momentum changing plays. How do you prepare your teams for these violent swings throughout the course of a game?
I think a lot of it's just, controlling what we can control, being who we are, taking the game as it comes, understanding it's a 48-minute game, understanding it's a series, and there's going to be natural swings in that. Different players are going to have different imprints on that. And, again, I think we understand that. We've seen Alexander Walker have big games against us and DiVincenzo have big games against us. And, we've been in multiple series now, and I think we have the wisdom from that to understand it. So, we need to be who we are. We need to focus on what we can control, and we need to go out there and compete in the present moment and let those things win the day and be able to bet on that.
Nick?
Yeah, Mark, you just mentioned it right there, but be in the present moment. It's something that your players often talk about, that kind of be where your feet are mentality. Is there anything you can share about, not just the saying there, but how you all actually have implemented that in your routine, or maybe even back in training camp, how you kind of install that presence within the players?
I think it's just attacking every day, attacking every rep, attacking every possession, and trying to make that a habit, and understanding the compounding nature of that and the impact of that when you do that. And these are guys that have seen success taking that approach. So, when you do something and then you find success doing it, it reinforces it and it breeds commitment. So the guys have done a great job of building that muscle over a long period of time now. And this is why it's important, because being down 2-1 in a series, it can have emotions associated with it, but dragging those into the next experience aren't going to help anybody. You have to, and being up 2-1 for Indiana, dragging that in isn't going to help them either. So you got to compete when the ball goes up in the air, and we've made a habit of that, and we have to double down on that again tomorrow.
Barry?
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Mark, Shea seems more emotionally agitated by Nembhard than anybody else all season. What's he doing to, I don't know if he's knocked him off his game, but he's clearly a little bit more emotional than we've seen.
You can ask him. I'm not going to make that assumption. At the first play, I think probably had some, it's like the first play of the game, but Shea does a pretty good job of staying inside of himself. He's not perfect, and he probably gets, I don't even know what the word would be, but he probably gets off his game, from time to time, possession to possession. But I think one of his superpowers is his ability to get back into the next possession, the next game, the next experience. He's the last guy I'm worried about with that. But that said, Indiana's done a great job, through 3 games of the series against us. So like I said, we haven't played our best. Certainly in Game 3, we didn't play our best, but I thought Indiana had a lot to do with that. So I never want to discredit the opponent or the effort they're putting in. All their team, their players, they outplayed us, outcoached us, out everything to us last night. And we need to move on and let that go, but we also need to own that so we can learn from it.
Thank you, Coach.